It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Kentucky Director of Women's Soccer Operations, Karrington True. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into college athletics?
Yeah, I have a bit of a different story in my approach to college athletics. I never really had the intention to work in collegiate athletics. My kind of Mount Everest to work in soccer operations is to actually work in Europe in the English Premier League. And I was presented with a very unique opportunity, and that happened to be in collegiate athletics. And then I've been here for the past 5 years.
What was it like, obviously, getting to work at your alma mater?
Yeah, so it's a very special thing for anyone, but especially from the University of Kentucky. The BBN is a magnetic and just phenomenal group of people. They are all over the world. They love the state of Kentucky. They love the university, the athletics department, really anything that has to do with Kentucky. There's a cult following and they are phenomenal. Being from the state, going to the school here, and then being in that environment is amazing. It's really hard to describe if you've not been a part of it, but it's something that I'm very thankful for. I'm thankful to be able to go to the flagship university in my state, but also to have such a front row view to one of the best athletics departments in the country and the world is phenomenal.
Was that like, obviously, being from Kentucky, going to Kentucky, and now working for Kentucky?
Yeah, it's an amazing thing and an amazing feat. There are people in the state who love UK basketball, football, UK athletics in general, and they will never have the opportunity to attend a game. I come from a small town that has about 500 people. We have one stoplight in our entire county, and our county is still dry. So when you cross that county line, it's a whole different world in my hometown compared to Lexington. And I'm very fortunate that I have been able to move and to go here and have the village behind me to help afford the opportunities that I have been granted.
What was it like, obviously, getting involved in soccer operations?
Yeah, I reached out to both teams when I think it was like the day I stepped foot on campus. I think I'd been in my dorm for maybe 5 hours. I emailed both programs here and knew that I wanted to work in soccer. And I didn't think that it would hurt to reach out to both teams and be willing to do whatever. In my email, I said that I was willing to fill water bottles, match socks, or really whatever they had available. I just wanted to be involved and to learn as much as I could. And then the timing really worked out. We were in a transition period in the women's program, and the head coach that I worked under was willing to take the risk and hire an undergraduate for the director of operations position. And that's kind of how I got into my job. And I'm very thankful that they took that risk.
What was it like, obviously, being a freshman and being involved in athletics on the director side and having such high roles?
Yeah, it's very daunting, honestly. I was given a lot of responsibility very quickly. The biggest bulk of my responsibility is all of our travel. And in complete transparency, I had never booked a hotel room on my own. And then I was told, here, book all of these hotel rooms for 30 people for every single game in the upcoming season. And it was very kind of daunting. But once I settled into the role and I was fortunate to have some mentors my first year that were incredibly helpful, then it started to become second nature. I got my operations style and kind of figured out how I wanted to run things and the way that I ran things, how that fit in with the program and the coaching staff style. And so we were really able to find something that worked for everyone and really clicked. And it definitely was kind of a learning process. What I did my first year is completely different from this past season. I run things completely differently now, and I'm a lot more organized and take a different approach to just kind of budgeting and planning. But it's been a journey to learn.
What are some of your roles and responsibility as the director of soccer operations?
Yeah, so I like to tell people two things. I'm responsible for everything that puts our athletes on the field other than knowing how to play and their medical. And I'm like a soccer mom on steroids. I deal with all of our administrative work, all of our travel. I have game day responsibilities, and then I have day to day responsibilities as well. So really just everything that helps everyone else focus on the core of their jobs. So if I can take the burden of the responsibility while we're traveling of managing reservations, hotels, getting us from point A to point B, then the athletes and the coaches can focus on their homework or the game that we have at hand. So I like to take that burden off of everyone else and kind of make everything smooth for them, and I get to worry about all of the problems that they have no idea are happening.
Of course, with the 2020 season that we just had and the uncertainty of obviously dealing with COVID, what was that like? Obviously, dealing with COVID and having to book hotels, and then obviously having to cancel if you had, like, let's say, COVID cases pop up.
Yeah, absolutely. 2020 was a very interesting season. We didn't know what it was going to look like in the spring, and everything was changing from day to day to day. But when we kind of got down to it, our schedule was set and the conference was very transparent that their goal was to play, but to play in the safest way for student athletes, staff, fans, everyone involved. How can we put on collegiate athletics in this pandemic world, but do it in the best way possible? So our schedule was set, and then we got word, okay, you're not going to play until September. So we canceled some of those non-conference games. And then we got close to that September date. And then it's like, no, you're only going to play conference. Okay, cool. So we canceled all of our non-conference games at all. And then right before we go to have conference play, they were like, yeah, we're going to change the conference schedule. And how they changed our schedule was almost completely different from what we'd had. So I had canceled and rebooked everything 5 or 6 times before we had even gotten to that conference schedule that we actually played. And then everything that I had still set had to be canceled and redone. So I was really booking a lot of our accommodations and a lot of our things week to week. And also having that flexibility of week to week allowed us to operate within that COVID space very well. So we weren't tied to things if cases popped up, which we were very fortunate that our department, our university, even our student athletes, everyone made the commitment to safety and to health. And so we really didn't deal with a lot of problems from people having COVID for that perspective. But it was very interesting. And I definitely learned a lot. And I think if I could book something the day before we leave, then I could book anything.
Of course, what was that stress like of obviously, you said sometimes you had to book the day of leaving. What was that like? Obviously, whenever you knew, obviously, before this COVID, you had it well prepared and stuff
Yeah.
months out, let alone a whole year out.
Yeah, I normally have everything booked 6 months in advance. We're pretty much done with our kind of operations foundation by the summer. We are in the South, so we have to compete with home football games, and so it's really hard to get our stuff done. So we'd have to get ahead of the game and get it all done early. But in 2020, not having that earliness and preparedness was difficult. It was very stressful, but I can't be stressed out when I'm the one doing it, and I can't be freaking out that things have changed at the last minute, because I have to be the calm, cool, collected person that solves the problems. And so really just kind of compartmentalizing that stress and just focusing on one task at a time. I'm very list oriented. And so I would write out everything that I needed to do in an order of importance. And then I would just cross things off the list one on one. And really doing it that way and just focusing on one thing at a time was what was helpful.
Of course, when it came to obviously scheduling out games, what was it like obviously preparing not just your schedule, but working with other colleges? Like, let's say if you wanted a non conference game with Carolina, working out with their director of soccer operations.
Yeah, so when we schedule games, I work really closely with the head coach. The head coach ultimately has that kind of final say, but also really in choosing where we go and who comes here. They work with programs all over the country, and it really is just a game of phone tag, checking dates, checking times, and then just getting on people's books. Most of the time we schedule games out a couple seasons in advance and then confirm closer to. But I deal a lot with our game contracts, writing those and executing those. but then our coaches schedule the games, which everyone wants to play. And so scheduling games really isn't that difficult. It's just making sure the timing's right.
Of course, when it comes to the official visits, what is it like obviously being the one that's majority in charge of having those prospective student athletes on the official visits?
Yeah, when I first started in the role, I had a really heavy hand in official and unofficial visits. But throughout the course of the 5 years I've been here, the NCAA has really changed a lot of the rules. So my role has been cut back drastically. I really only help with itineraries and just making sure that all of the paperwork pieces are checked and done. But I typically don't get to meet our people who are here on official visits. I get to wave at them through my office door, but they spend a lot of their time with our coaching staff, our support staff, academics, and strength and conditioning staff. And then they get to see campus as well. But I'm super far back in behind the scenes and doing some things that they probably have no idea I've done.
What is it like obviously getting to see them come on campus and learning about the campus and sometimes obviously interacting with you to figure out obviously if Kentucky is where they want to be?
Yeah, we are really fortunate to have such a great campus, such a great facility, and then even Lexington is a fantastic city. So it's not hard to sell people on what we have to offer them. But our focus is relationships. Do you like our staff as people? Do you enjoy the team that's here? Do you enjoy the style of play that we have? How can we build relationships with you so that your time here is full and fulfilling for you? um, you can always sell people on the bright shiny new things. The locker rooms look amazing, the fields are great, the training facilities are fantastic, but if you don't have a good connection with the people that are here, then it's not the right fit for you. So really diving deeper and talking to the people and getting to know them as human beings is what we place a large emphasis on.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before working in soccer operations and working in the athletic side?
Yeah, something that I didn't know coming in really was the level of commitment that it takes, not only from student athletes, but from coaches, support staff, everyone involved in game day management, the people who park the cars at our stadium, the people who take tickets, our concession workers, really the level of commitment that it takes from each individual to pull our season off is very inspiring. It's a ton of hard work, and getting to work alongside people who are very passionate about being here, being a part of what we're doing is amazing. And it's something that is fantastic to see. You purposefully, when you attend games, especially here at UK Athletics, when you attend games, it's kind of effortless. You feel good, you're focused on the game. You don't realize all of these background things that are going on behind the scenes. And you shouldn't. As that fan experience, you want to go to the game, you want to have fun. You don't want to see all these people running around like crazy, but they are. And seeing them and getting to have that backdoor view is amazing.
What is it like, obviously, with working with college athletics, obviously being able to attend games and obviously on game day? I know you have a lot of stress on it, but obviously getting to see the players perform at the top peak.
Yeah, I tell people that I have the best view in the house. I get to see the sweat come off these kids. I get to see the mud on the bottom of their cleats because I'm about a foot and a half from the touch line on the field. And it's amazing to have that up close and personal view on game day and see all of their hard work paying off. But in our department, we really are kind of family oriented. So we spend a lot of time going to events at other sports. We share our building with softball and men's soccer. We spend a lot of time at their games. We see their staffs walking around the office. We bump into each other, grabbing coffee and talk to them in the hallways. But we love going to support other programs. Football and basketball are big marquee programs for our department. We spend a lot of time at those games. I'm a huge UK basketball fan. My parents are massive UK basketball fans. They're happy that I get to take them to games, and I'm happy that I get to do that. But we don't stay in our corner of the department. We spend a lot of time getting to know other programs and getting to watch their success, and they also come and watch ours.
What advice would you give people looking to work inside college athletics, not on coaching side?
Yeah, I would offer this advice to everyone, not only in athletics, but in life in general. Give people the opportunity to tell you no. When I emailed hoping that I would be matching socks or filling water bottles, there was a very high chance that I was going to get told no. But if I didn't reach out, then the answer was always going to be no. There was never going to be a chance for anything different than that. So give people that opportunity to tell you no, because if you assume the answer automatically is, then there's no chance for a yes. And you get rid of any opportunity that could be coming your way. So I would really suggest for people to be brave, to reach out, but also to be willing to do whatever. I never expected that I would walk in and be given the position that I was, and I'm very, very thankful for it. But I'm not above filling water bottles at practice. I'm not above matching our socks and helping our equipment managers set up our locker room. So being willing to do whatever and not thinking that you're too good or above anything, and giving people the opportunity to tell you no, is the advice that I would give people.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Kentucky soccer program at?
Absolutely. You can find me on Kentucky's website. My bio is on there if you want to learn a little bit more about what I do. My contact information is on there for people who want to reach out. I'm happy to give advice and to talk to people really about my experience. But you can find me on social media, my first and last name on all of my platforms. I am thankful that 12-year-old Karrington was organized when she downloaded Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, but it's just my first and last name. And then our Twitter and Instagram accounts for the soccer team or UK women's soccer. And you can find all of UK athletics at UK athletics.
Thank you again, Karrington True, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Kentucky soccer program as the Director of Soccer Operations.
Thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Karrington True, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.